Next game I want to get to, Chargers at Steelers here. Up and down for the Chargers so far this season. Steelers, man, they've got their brand of football, and they are coasting. I mean, let's get to the Steelers' top 5 graded players. Their guard, James Daniels, an elite 93.2 grade in this game. Cam Hayward, the ageless wonder, 35 years old. He's out here still doing it, man. 90.2 overall grade here. Center Zach Frazier, another fantastic game for the rookie at number 3, 88.8. Wide receiver Calvin Austin had an 82.0. And then cornerback Joey Porter Jr. I know some people have been asking why Joey Porter Jr.'s grades have been a little bit lower. Well, here he is in the top 5, getting the recognition here in this game, 74.8. Justin Fields, 75.4 in this game. We'll definitely kind of break that down a little bit further in a second. Los Angeles Chargers edge rusher Khalil Mack, talk about guys who are still doing it at an older age, 82.2, I should say, at the top of the list here for the Chargers. Cornerback Christian Fulton with a 74.0. Wide receiver Ladd McConkey getting to be a major focal point of this passing attack, 71.3. Guard Zion Johnson with a 68.1. Wide receiver Quentin Johnson, a 65.9. And then Justin Herbert, just very clearly banged up, very clearly limited. He was in the post-game press conference wearing a boot. That ankle is just not right. 58.8 in this game, and he didn't even make it through the entire performance. So the Pittsburgh Steelers getting a win here, 3-0. 3-0 on the season. What was the stat that told the story here for you?
So it's really just the Steelers' defense. Look, the Chargers in the second half, they ran 15 plays. They had the ball for 9 minutes and 48 seconds, and they had 0 total yards in the second half. This Steeler team, if they didn't have the Steeler logo on the helmet, I would think they're the Iowa Hawkeyes, because that's just what they're playing like. They are going to play lights-out defense better than almost anybody in the NFL right now. Justin Fields is managing the game well. He's not doing anything particularly flashy. Couple nice throws over the middle, but he's gotten this. Mike Tomlin's gotten through to him. Look, kid, just don't blow the game. Don't blow the game. Yeah. We may have the best defense in football. We've got T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward and Joey Porter and Minkah Fitzpatrick and all these guys on defense who are playing extremely well. Patrick Queen as well. Just don't blow it. If you don't turn the ball over, and he's one of few quarterbacks. We'll get there in a second too. One of just 3 quarterbacks right now without a turnover-worthy play that's made at least 2 starts actually. So he is just not blowing it. He's taking off running when he needs to. He's not forcing shots downfield. He's checking the ball down. And honestly, if it's third down and nothing's there, cool, we'll punt it away, because there are very few offenses, especially not this Chargers one right now. And I know the Chargers have been good. They've been good in the run game and trying to find it in the passing game now, especially after Herbert getting hurt and Taylor Heineke coming in. It just became the Steelers just going, you're not going 80 or 90 yards on us.
Right.
You just can't do it.
Yep.
And they've instilled that in Fields as well. But giving up, I don't care if it's Herbert or Heineke or whoever, you give up 0 yards and a half in the NFL, that's just dominant. I mean, their defense right now is incredible. Like I said, this looks like the Iowa Hawkeyes, the way they're playing, and they're just going to keep winning like that.
I totally agree with that, and it starts up front with this team. This defensive line for the Steelers is simply one of the best in the NFL. And I know that I'm not like breaking any news there. We thought of that, of them going into the season, and they're just playing at an incredibly high level. 87.7 overall grade as a team. That's the defensive line. So you're just sorting for the interior defensive linemen and the edge rushers. 73.5 run defense and 83.8 pass rush grade. Specifically stopping the Chargers' run game. Like, even with Herbert limited, I thought was really, really impressive. The Chargers' EPA per rush ranking through the first 3 weeks of the season. Okay, week 1, remember, J.K. Dobbins had more than 130 yards rushing in week 1 and week 2. So, in week 1, their EPA per rush was 17th in the league. Week 2, it was 13th. This past week against the Steelers, 24th. Like, very clearly limiting this team in exactly what they want to do. They knew their game plan going in. Justin Herbert being a little limited, that made sense that they were going to sort of sell out for this area, but they just absolutely dominated. And that has to be the story of when the Steelers, when it comes time to call upon the Steelers defensive line, they are going to answer. They are that talented. They are that well executed. Like, it is so good. But Nick Herbig, okay? We didn't even have him on the top 5 because our parameters are normally you have to play at least 25 snaps in the game, because the way that PFF statistics and grades work specifically is larger sample sizes mean more, right? When you have a larger sample size, you could tell the full story. It paints the whole picture for you. So when you play less than 25 snaps, sometimes you could have a couple of good plays or a couple of bad plays really skew a grade. So we think that that's sometimes unfair of players. So we set those parameters at 25. Nick Herbig played 17 snaps in this game. So he didn't qualify for that top 5. But in those 17 snaps, he had a 94.6 pass rush grade, 2 sacks, 3 pressures, 50% pass rush win percentage. So they're even understanding when to put their situational guys in the game, how to maximize that part of it. Now, one of his pressures was against Rashawn Slater, but Rashawn Slater went out in this game. I'll kind of talk about that more in a second. 3 of them came against Trey Pipkins, but it was simply, hey, this guy cannot guard his outside shoulder, not against your speed. Go after him. And he did. It's a great game plan. The Steelers' defensive line understands their strengths and weaknesses, and they put players in positions to succeed so well. So to me, the stat that told the story is how dominant this defensive line continues to remain with their veterans and with their young guys as well. But most impressive for you, who you got?
Well, I'll stay with the Iowa Hawkeye theme, and I'll go with that highest graded guy for the Steelers. That's James Daniels. What a year he's having so far. And the Steelers have some shuffling going at offensive tackle. There is no issue on the inside, both with Daniels and with rookie center Zach Frazier as well. But Daniels right now a 93.2 overall grade, 93.3 for the season. He is the highest graded guard in football right now. And I believe the 3rd highest graded offensive lineman. He is having an absolute breakout year. Still a pretty young guy, even though he's been in the league for a while. Used to be with the Bears for a few years. Daniels and Frazier, both on the interior, are just mauling people. And I'll tell you, the Steelers, same thing on offense. They want to run the ball. They want to give Fields manageable throws, but there's some road grading going on in the Steelers' interior. It starts with James Daniels. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to find himself on an all-pro team because they are just – if they can figure out some consistency, and Troy Fautanu's on IR now, so it's going to be Dan Moore and Broderick Jones at tackle. If they can find more consistency at tackle, this offensive line is starting to look dangerous, especially on the inside with Daniels.
Yeah, my most impressive is Justin Fields, and you sort of introed a little bit of kind of what I would highlight, so I'm just going to echo a lot of the things that you said there. 4 big-time throws, 0 turnover-worthy plays, 82.1 adjusted completion percentage so far this season. But the stat that I love the most about Justin Fields 3 weeks into the season, it's not even the 0 turnover-worthy plays. 2.91 time to throw. That's under 3 seconds for the first time in his NFL career. When you talk about Justin Fields and the incredible talent that he was coming out of the 2021 class, he's coming from an offense at Ohio State that was very vertical. You had great receivers to throw the ball to. You had offensive linemen that could block all day for you. And so he naturally looked for the biggest plays because Ohio State's offense allowed him to do that. Maximize a big arm that he had, hold on to the ball a little bit longer. The college defensive linemen weren't fast enough to tackle him anyway, so he didn't really have to worry about it. So everything that Fields was looking at was often in the intermediate or deep portions of the field. It's what Ohio State's offense was really great at. In the passing game when he was there, I should say. When he gets to Chicago, you saw a lot of those tendencies there. He was big game hunting, if you will. He's looking for those big passes. And the instability with, who's calling the plays and the offensive mind's in his ear. Okay, now we're switching up to this philosophy. Now this, and the offensive line's not as good as it needs to be, and the receiving group's not as good as it needs to be, and the run game's not as good as it needs to be. Like all of these moving parts with Justin Fields, to me, sort of stunted the evidence of what could have been growth for him in the early parts of his NFL career. There was a play specifically in this game that was just a simple check down that Benjamin Solak, who works for ESPN, you should go follow all of his great work. He does a great job covering the league. He highlighted this on Twitter and he tweeted it out, and I completely agree with him. It was a simple dump-off pass for Justin Fields. And you go, not really anything of note here. But the thing that Solak pointed out, and I completely agree with him, there is a deeper route that Fields could have either tried to attempt, and it would have been poor because he probably would have thrown a turnover-worthy play there, or at least locked in on that route until it very much was not an option anymore. And then at that point, the check down's not an option anymore because you missed the timing, and now you got to take off and run. Now you're probably getting sacked. And instead, he hikes it, he goes, all right, there's 1, 2, 3 defenders around the deep guy. Nope, checking him down. Boom, gets to the check down immediately. That's a lower time to throw. That's a good completion percentage, and it sets your offense up. It completely eliminates what could be negatives with Justin Fields. So, yes, we haven't seen him be this world beater, push the ball deep down the field type of a quarterback yet. But Justin Fields is improving. He is evolving. He is growing. And I think that is a greater conversation that we can have about some of these young quarterbacks that we throw out there in the NFL way too early. And when they don't grow within the first 4 games of their NFL career, we go, what's wrong with this bum? And Fields really struggled. He needed to change his scenery, but I'm just saying, he was most impressive in this game, and I loved what we saw from him because to me, it was real, tangible growth, especially in the time to throw category for him.
And that play that you mentioned through the first 3 games is probably between 12 and 15 of those that we've seen. It's
yes.
It's just you're seeing, and I think it's about to the team and the mindset and just, I call it understanding the assignment, okay? As a quarterback, what's the day that I need to throw for 350 yards? And what's the day that I need to throw for $150 and let the defense win and let the rest of it win, right? Yesterday was a day, and really the way their defense is playing the first 3 games, listen, Justin, if you go out there and throw for 180 yards and you don't throw a pick, you're doing just fine with the team you're playing because they're not a team that has to score 35 points right now. They get to 20 points, teams are going to have a hard time beating them. I think you're right. You're seeing the adjustments to taking second reads, taking checkdowns. And honestly, even when he runs, it is more decisive. It is north and south. It's get my 6 yards and slide and be done with it. Instead of we used to see all those plays with the Bears where it was, all right, let's spin back out of the pocket. Let's run 30 yards this way. Let's run 30 yards back this way. And then let's go, and then we'll make something crazy happen. But that's too high variance. You have to. I think there's one thing that needs to be said about quarterbacks. Mahomes is awesome at it. Getting north and south. When it's time to run, just go. Be as decisive about the running as you are about the throwing. And all of a sudden, an incredible athlete like Fields or even Mahomes, they're very dangerous because all of a sudden, they just decided in that split second. You can tell if a guy's scrambling around back there, okay, he's going to take off and run. It gives the defense time to catch up, right? It's one of the things I loved about Jaden Daniels and the way he runs at LSU and
sure.
Washington, where it is when he decides, he's gone. That's it. It's north and south. It's across the line of scrimmage. Fields is doing that right now. Great decision-making. Real quick, my most disappointing just ties into your thing about the Steelers D-line. Chargers have to win with the run game. Didn't do it in this game. 20 carries, 61 yards, only 1 explosive run. This is where their explosives have been created, is in the run game with J.K. Dobbins. Couldn't make it happen in this one. The injuries are more obviously concerning if Slater and or Joe Alt are both hurt, and now it's going to come even into more spotlight if Justin Herbert misses any games. Didn't have it today. I think, Harbaugh's building it. Him and Greg Roman always have good run games, so I do think it's more of a matchup thing being against the Steelers, but that's how they have to win games and didn't get it done up front in this one.
Yeah, my most disappointing is just in a little bit of a joking term, the NFL script for the Chargers right now, because they say that the league is scripted,
it's
right?
Always there
and the script for the Chargers just sucks right now. Herbert's hurt, Joe Alt's hurt, Rashawn Slater's hurt, Joey Bosa's hurt. I mean, it's hard to win a football game when your cornerstone guys just go down like that. So I just think that's the most disappointing for me because I think the Chargers were really going places, and I'm not saying that they were going to win the Super Bowl this year, but anytime that it's injuries are the part that you have to deal with that's holding you back, sucks. And it sucks for a team that's as exciting as the Chargers have been over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully those guys can heal up and get back on the field soon.